Dynasty was a glorious period in the history of China. From the 12th to 15th centuries, amazing accomplishments were made. The Great Wall was completed, rudders to steer large ships were invented, and let's not forget the bristle toothbrush. Now there are structures built in this time using sticky rice mortar that still stand today. Bridges, temples, and tombs that stood firm through the ages. Well, if rice is good enough to hold together the Ming Dynasty, it should be good enough to hold together our menu. Today, cinnamon rice pudding with rhubarb compote, and we're sticking with it. I'm Garret Schack, and that's what we're cooking on the coast. If it's strong enough for the Great Wall of China, it's good enough for today's recipe, rice. Today we're preparing cinnamon rice pudding with rhubarb compote. Let's get at her. All right, so we've got a few things laid out here already. And one of the things we want to do with this dessert is because it's really creamy and, you know, really nice and rich like a rice pudding should be, such a creamy, elegant dessert needs something crunchy with it as well. So we're going to make an almond lace cookie, all right? So we've got all the ingredients laid out here. First thing we want to do in a small pan right here is just add a stick of butter and get that melting. At the same time, we're gonna add our sugar. We're using two kinds of sugar. We've got brown sugar and white sugar, both going in at the same time. And then for a little more sweetness, some delicious honey. In it goes. All right. And we're gonna let that sort of all melt together and come together all nicely before we add the other ingredients. I've got some ground ginger, a few other things, and then a surprise for you when we get to that point. Now we want to turn our attention to, I guess, the rhubarb compote. So this piece is going to be really tasty because it's going to add like a bit of a sourness to the sweetness of the rice pudding. And rhubarb, when it's in season, is just unbeatable, right? So got some beautiful big stalks here. They say the redder the stalk, the sweeter the fruit tastes. Sometimes you'll find some that are kind of a strawberry rhubarb, and you'll see that even on the inside they have this red color. So we want to chop these all nicely. We don't want to leave them in too big a chunk because then you get that string. You know how rhubarb can be stringy sometimes if you just eat it raw. So we kind of want to cut it up fairly fine and then get it over to our pan. Now, as you can see here, I've chopped the leaves off of the rhubarb. Just so you should know, this is a nightshade plant and the leaves are actually poisonous. So don't ever eat the leaves, or if you have chickens in the backyard, you shouldn't be feeding the rhubarb stalk to the chickens either. There we go. Okay, let's do a couple more. This stuff's really nice. If you have extras left over after the dessert, this is great for just keeping in the fridge for a while. Now, it does take a fair bit of sugar, so I don't want you to be scared or mad at me here when we're using a lot of sugar in this. But as I said, rhubarb adds this kind of tanginess, so we want to sweeten that out a little bit. And it goes. Lovely. I'm going to turn up the heat on a couple of these guys to get them rolling. Yeah, it's looking great. You can see some of them have the red in there. Hopefully you're getting that. You can see that one's like a strawberry rhubarb compared to this one here that is actually just a regular rhubarb, right? So a nice little mix. Let's do one more because we like to see some chopping. And I brought my big knife out today, so we may as well use it. There we are. All right, now sugar. So we've got probably close to cup and a half, 2 cups of rhubarb in there. We're gonna add a full cup of sugar. This will start bringing out some moisture, add that lovely sweetness. And I wanna add a little more, sort of a little bit of acidity to it here. So we're gonna add the juice of half a lemon. Use our strainer here. Squeeze it all out. There we go. Very nice. I love rhubarb when it's in season. It's great in preserves, jams, jellies, all that kind of stuff. Really great, low in cholesterol, low sodium. Awesome cleansing type fruit here. All right, now we want to let that cook down a little bit. So it's going to take a little bit to get all the moisture out there. You notice the lemon juice is the only liquid I've added, and that's all right because that rhubarb's just going to start releasing all its juices, which is great. Let's have a look at our butter and sugar mixture here. It's looking pretty good. Give it a little whisk. These cookies are awesome, and they had a really nice snap, okay? They're very similar to like a brandy snack, but today we're not using brandy. We're using Di Serono or Amaretto. So it's got this almond flavor, which is going to give us a really nice complement to the rhubarb. Okay, that's nicely melted together. We're going to add got some ginger powder here. All about spicing things up this season, right? So we've got some powdered ginger. Just mix that in. Add a touch of vanilla. So I've got vanilla seed paste here, which is lovely if you can get it. In it goes. And then our flour. All of it in there. Very nice. Whisk that together again. So this is the batter. It's kind of a different batter for sure. It's not like your typical cookie dough batter. This is going to be a little thinner, and we're going to drop it right out onto a pan here. You'll see. Okay. Very nice. Little pinch of salt. Even in baking, you want to use some salt. Salt really just enhances flavors. So, and then, like I mentioned earlier in the show, our secret ingredient, the Di Serono, the amaretto. Get that in there. Very nice. See? Even the batter's happy now. There we go. Oh, smells so fragrant. Love that smell. Just adds this sort of marzipan type almond smell and scent to it. Okay, perfect. Now we can stop that. So as you can see, we got some really lovely bubbles there. That's the texture we're looking for. And we're gonna get out our sheet pan. So I've got what's called a silpet on here. It's a non-stick sort of cooking surface. You could use parchment paper. Oven's ready. You could use parchment paper. That'll work as well. This here is just really nice because you can kind of pick it up and move it around. So when our cookies are done, we'll be able to do that. And we simply want to take a spoon here, take a little bit of our batter, and drop just like a teaspoon worth at a time in and around, just like that. Now these are gonna spread out quite a bit. You'll see once we get them going. Smells incredible. That rhubarb is really starting to smell as well. Colors are coming together. You can see how much liquid is kind of come into that pan already. There we go. Make sure we give lots of space. Very nice. One more. We can save the rest of that batter for later. Last thing we want to do before we get these guys into the oven is just drop a couple of almonds, just some sliced almonds right on top of each one. Helps accentuate that almond flavor in the liqueur we put in there. Lovely. Okay, into the middle rack of a nice hot oven. There we go. 7 or 8 minutes, so just enough time for you to run off during commercial break and do what it is you need to do. We'll be back later in the show to pull together our cinnamon rice pudding and rhubarb compote. Don't go away. Right after the break, we're going out on the road. You won't want to miss that. All right, rhubarb compote's coming along beautifully. We're out here on location at Arbutus RV. The sun's finally decided to poke its head out. So what did we do? We got this amazing awning right here. And with me, to add a little more sunshine, is Rose Little from Arbutus RV. How are you, Rose?
Garret. I'm great, thanks.
Well, today I was thinking, what's kind of the hardest thing? Getting out of bed, especially when we got these amazing RVs, right?
Yeah.
We're all cuddled up in that king-size bed that's sitting in there.
Yeah.
The
With your
duvet's over
feather-down
us.
duvet.
Yeah, you know, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the last thing you want to do? You don't want to get out of bed, right?
No.
So what I've done is kind of created this French toast dish that is super simple. You do have to get out of bed, unfortunately, to get it on the grill. But you can prep it ahead of time, fire it on there, let somebody else worry about making the coffee, and you can snuggle back in while it's cooking, all right? So let's get started here.
Well, the good thing the guy's job is getting the grill started, so.
Yeah, right? So you don't have to get out of bed at all.
No.
That's perfect.
So we'll have done this the night before.
That's right, yeah. So I just want to show the preparation and making the actual little purse here. So you see I've got some tin foil and some parchment paper.
Yeah.
And look at that, I got a little eggshell in my mix, so using the other half of the shell. Did you know that trick?
No.
So it's really tough. If you tried to fish in there with your finger, you'd never get it out. So you just use the shell and it cuts right through the white. So.
Perfect.
We're gonna whisk that. Do you mind whisking that?
No, absolutely. I'll go for that.
So we got some eggs. We're gonna make this dairy-free, actually. So I know
like that.
Sounds kind of funny, but we're using almond milk here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna whisk that in there. Perfect. And then for our sort of purse or bundle, I've got some parchment paper and some tin foil. And then we've got just, you know, regular sort of white toast or sourdough toast, whatever you prefer. Some nice chocolate. You like chocolate?
Oh, yeah.
There you
Who
go.
doesn't?
Have a bite.
All right.
There we go.
Nice dark chocolate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Really good quality chocolate. We're just gonna throw a few pieces in there, kind of between the layers.
Oh, yeah, very rich.
Yeah, nice, isn't it? Has that sort of bit of bitterness, a bit of acidity. Now we want to make our bundle. So we need to kind of make a bit of a, I don't know, like a bowl or a cup here. So seal it up.
But it has to hold the
That's
liquid,
right. It's got to hold all that liquid. So why don't you go ahead and pour that liquid right over top of all these guys.
Okay.
Again, this is something we would totally do ahead of time. And then we could just have this sitting in our fridge in the RV. Wake up, get the coffee going, fire it on the grill, come back. It's gonna take a little while to cook. I won't lie to you. This isn't a quick one, but the end result is gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
so we can
so
do
how
that.
long?
We give it a little shake.
How long do you give it on the grill?
Probably, well, what we're gonna do is we want one side super hot and then the other side just on low. Because
Okay.
we don't want to burn it. Like if we
Right.
just put that on the grill, then we'd have toast and not
Right.
French toast.
Hard toast.
That's right, yeah, just burnt toast, right? So we just give it a little shake, so make sure all the bread is nicely covered. And then, like I said, so we got nice hot over here, cold on this side, and we can just, as we're going, give it a little flip now and again, give it a turn, set it on there like that. And this is
So
the
all
one,
this while I'm having my morning coffee and
well, now,
yeah.
you just close the lid and you can snuggle back into bed if
Yeah.
you want, right? Because we gotta wait for it to go here. But you can see this one here. It's already done. Look at that. See the steam coming off? Look at the chocolate in between the layers.
Wow, it's gooey melting. Wonderful dark
that does not
chocolate.
look delicious.
Oh.
But it wouldn't just be French toast, you know, if we didn't add a few other toppings, right? So we're gonna put some strawberries on there. Do you wanna grab a couple strawberries?
You bet.
Pick out your favorite ones.
Oh, I'm gonna go for the big one.
Nice. I'm gonna pull this out and put it on the plate that's right beside you there.
Okay.
Just like this. Oh, look at that. The chocolate.
Wow. It's
Nicely
just dripping
baked.
and oozing chocolate.
Doesn't that look great? There we go. And we cut up a little bit of that strawberry there. Very nice. Delicious.
Okay.
And then you can go ahead and put those right on top. And then, Rose, I came across this product right here, and I thought it was just super cool, so I wanted to show it to you. It's coconut whipped cream.
Nice dairy-free option. I've been looking for one.
Yeah, so we're, you know, you get away from the lactose and all that kind of stuff, but we
Yeah.
got this this delicious whipped cream, so we just kind of smother that around like that. Try not to get us dirty at the same time. And there we go. And put a piece of chocolate on top like that. Oh.
That is fabulous.
Yeah, and then
Look
we
at
could
that.
totally dig in. So
Yeah.
I would just grab it with my fingers here and tear off a piece.
Okay.
Let's give it a try.
A little bit of strawberry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm double dipping here, but we're friends, right? What do you think?
Decadent.
Grilled French toast, chocolate, coconut. I don't know. I think it's worth getting out of bed for.
Doesn't get any better than that.
I think
Delicious.
Rose and I are going to finish this up, but in the meantime, I got to get back to the kitchen. We'll see you in a little bit. Right? No, that wasn't so tough, was it? It's back to our kitchen. We're working on cinnamon rice pudding with rhubarb compote. If you remember, before we left for the break, we threw some lace cookies into the oven. Let's go grab those because they're all done. They look great. Perfect color on them. Look at that. See how they spread right out? And that's why they're called lace cookies, because they have these little bubbles to them. We want to leave those cool just for a few seconds, but not until they get completely cold, because then it'd be tough to get them off the silpat. Let's turn our attention over to the stove here. Our rhubarb has cooked down very nicely. Looking great. We should give it a little taste here. Look at how the color all came together. Beautiful, vibrant red. Oh, absolutely fabulous. That rhubarb just has this really lovely tartness to it, but it's sweet from the sugar we put in there. That's gonna be perfect with the rice pudding. Now, I've cooked some rice here. Didn't need to show you how to cook rice. Most of you know how to do it. In this case, we've added a cinnamon stick while we were cooking, so that liquid that got absorbed by the rice will also pick up some of that cinnamon flavor. You could do this with leftover rice too. Let's say you made 2 cups, you only ate 1 cup, and you had some left over. You could very simply turn it into rice pudding just by doing these few steps here. I've got some plain white sugar in a bowl here and an egg. I'm gonna combine those 2 together. We're sort of making a custard, I suppose, to help thicken our rice and cream it out a little bit. Just wanna whisk these together nicely. All right. Lovely. And then we're gonna add some milk. Just some nice fresh milk into here. There we are, stir that around. And once this is all incorporated, we'll go over to the pan and pour it right in with the rest of that rice. There we go. Now, sometimes in Europe, you'll find rice pudding actually made with goat's milk, which is really interesting as well. And if you can get your hands on it, give it a try. I certainly recommend it. There we go. There's something like 40,000 different types of rice in the world. We're just using a straight up basmati here. I find sort of the medium grain rice works really, really well. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit because we want that egg to cook out in there. But you can see it's nice and creamy. And it'll start to thicken as that egg cooks up. Now, let's let that cook just for a few seconds. We don't want to run away from it at this point because the egg will curdle and you'll get that burning taste, which we definitely do not want. Go over to our cookie pan here. And we just want to start to lift these guys off. You see, that's why we use the sill pad here. And they pop off just nicely like that. You can flip them over at this point so they don't stick any further, but that's why we're using this sill pad, so it's no stick. Very nice. Nice and crispy and crunchy. There we go. Awesome. So this is gonna add that texture to our rice pudding dish, which we're looking for, right? Okay. It's gonna take a couple of minutes to get this rice cooked. As you know, we're using cinnamon. Cinnamon's one of our spices in today's dish, and the cinnamon tree can grow up to 60 feet tall, if you can imagine that. And cinnamon is actually the bark off that tree. How cool is that? Little known facts that you've only find out here on Cookin on the Coast. I know the people that have traveled all through Asia and never seen a cinnamon tree, hey? How weird is that? If you really like cinnamon, feel free to add some more. We got another stick here that we could add at this cooking point. These things are also known as quills. Maybe back in the old days they used them for bow and arrow type thing. It would work. You'd want to eat them though rather than shoot people with them. Our rhubarb compote coming along nicely. All right, we can see it starting to bubble here nicely. It's kind of what we're looking for. We don't really want it to come to a complete boil because then you will curdle those eggs that are in there. But we want it just to kind of start to bind together, and hopefully you can see that. Camera 3, you on that? You get that right there? That's right. So we're looking for, see how it's thickened up and it looks all nice and creamy in there right now? Oh, so nice. You can smell the cinnamon. Amazing. Last couple of touches, some vanilla. Some of that vanilla paste again. Oh, there we go. Stir that around. See all those beans in there, looks great. And then we'll go over to our plate. Let's start plating this guy up. Very nice. Just grab a nice big scoop here. Go right to the middle of the plate. You can almost see how creamy that is, can't you? Delicious. It smells incredible. Cinnamon and vanilla go together hand in hand. Now we're gonna take some of that rhubarb compote. Whatever you have left over, like I said, just keep it in the fridge. We're not gonna make a real jam here. We're not canning or anything like that. Just keep it in the fridge. Put a little bit of that right on top. So those two textures together are very similar, right? You got the creaminess of your rice pudding, and then you've got that sort of smooth texture for the preserve. That's where we need one of these delicious tuiles. All right. We would just stack that right on top, just like that. A little sprig of mint to make it look pretty. And you can eat it afterwards to freshen your breath. And there you have it, cinnamon rice pudding with rhubarb compote. hardly wait to dig into that. And now for the beverage pairing to go with this amazing dessert. With me today is Mike from Sea Cider Farm and Cider House. Nailed it that time. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, good.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Cheers.
Now, I understand you've got a bit of a unique cider for us today.
Yeah, I do. I have our summer seasonal cider. It's called Ruby Rose. It's a British Columbia grown apple cider base infused with rhubarb and rose hips in a cider eau de vie.
I guess I know why you've chose this one, hey, with the rhubarb compote on here?
Yes, you do.
Very
As
nice.
you say, when we're pairing, we choose things that complement each other or are very drastic. So this case, it's going to be a compliment.
Great compliment, eh?
Yes.
Very nice. So tell me a little bit about the cider house out there. I know you use a lot of your own apples.
Yeah, we're out on the Saanich Peninsula. We're 10 acres. We're certified organic by PAX. We make around 5 certified organic ciders and a couple other ciders. This one is not certified organic, but the Rum Runner, which we paired the main dish with, is.
Nice, yeah. Well, this one tastes really great. I mean, the little bit of that rose comes out. You get some of that rhubarb. It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I love about Sea Cider is that I can go out there any time of year, really, and have a sampling of all the different varieties and all the different sort of seasonal stuff,
That's right. Yeah, there'll be a new seasonal basically every month, and you can come out and try them all on a flight.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, you get something like 9 ciders or something like that in a flight. That's great. I didn't get any rhubarb on the first bite, so I gotta have a second. I think that was a Freudian slip there, like a total accidental half a second bite.
A little bit more rhubarb here. It's very, very delicious.
Oh yeah, well that's just rhubarb, right? So, but I love the rose hip. I love that little rose flavor that you get in there. It's really unique. Yeah.
And that's a invasive rose in there, actually. Rose
is it really?
rugosa. Yeah.
So you're plucking it out to save the world. I like it. Very
Well,
cool.
we're actually just raising funds with this cider for the Nature Conservancy of Canada.
Awesome. So it's got a great story. Great cider, pairs really well with this dish, and an amazing story behind it.
Definitely.
I love it. Fantastic. Check out our website where you'll find more information on today's show and maybe a few surprises. I'm Garret Schack. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to savor the flavor.